Hi, I'm Randy Schroeder. I so much wish I was with you face to face. I wish I could reach out and shake your hand. I want to welcome you to Monavie. I want to personally invite you not to just join a business, but I want to welcome you to a community called MVP that has a primary purpose of lifelong personal growth and development. Inclusive in that growth and development is going to be a guide, a process to help you develop some simple skills that have been proven over and over and over for some 2 decades plus to create success. Proven and predictable pattern of activities. That's what I'll describe. This video is a companion piece to the Start Right and Start Now brochure. You might use it as you walk through this. Perhaps this is part of your actual decision-making process, or maybe you've already had the clarity of thought to say, this is right, I want to participate. Step number 1 is an important step. It's to determine why will you do this. You know, and I contemplate way back in the very beginning, the first hour when I said yes to this direct selling or community commerce industry, I had to determine my why. What was my why? I was a stockbroker, considered by most to be quite successful, but I disliked what I did for a living. I didn't want to do it for another day. My why was a very simple why. I wanted change. I wanted to work for me, not for someone else. I wanted to work when I wanted, where I wanted, with whom I wanted, and if I wanted. That was never going to become a reality for me if I stayed a stockbroker. That's why I said yes to this industry. I couldn't say yes to Monavie at that time because Monavie was not yet born. How grateful I am that back in August of 2008, I was given the specific and exact chance you're being given now, the chance to start right and to start now in Monavie. There are 10 simple steps to getting started correctly and to proceed into long-term success. The first one is to decide why you'll do the business. My why? I wanted to work for myself, not for someone else. We can take it a little bit deeper. You know, I remember growing up as a child in a home where my parents provided what they could, and it was enough, but it wasn't what I wanted. And I remember how much I learned to hate a couple of phrases. I would tell my mom, Mom, I want Levi's jeans. I thought every other kid in school was wearing Levi's jeans, and my family couldn't afford them. And she said, how much do they cost? Ooh, how I learned to hate that phrase. And then I'd tell her, and I would tell her the answer, how much they cost. And then came the next phrase that was worse still, that's too much. How much does it cost? That's too much. I learned to hate those phrases. It set me off on a mission to have financial success. One day, the path that I chose to cause that success to become a reality for me and my family was an entry into the direct selling industry. Why? I wanted to work for me. A deeper why? I wanted to overcome the question of how much does it cost. I wanted to acquire things because I wanted them, because I thought my family needed them, and I didn't want cost to be the primary deciding factor. What's your why? You'll need to decide. Probably needs to be a pretty significant one. Think about it. Consider it a little bit. What's your why? This is the way out. This is the answer. Identify the problem. Monavie can be the solution. It has been for me and for so many others. Step number 2 is to place an appropriate initial order. What is an appropriate initial order? An appropriate initial order is one that considers your goal, it considers your financial circumstance, it considers your willingness to work, and it considers proper business building and duplication strategies. What is your goal? What is your financial circumstance? What is your willingness to work? How far do you want to take this? And let me just ask you this simple question. Is it your primary objective as you begin this business to earn hundreds of dollars per month, or is it your principal objective to earn thousands of dollars per month? My objective was to earn thousands of dollars per month. If that's your objective, my own personal experience is you'll probably be well suited. It'll probably be a good decision for you to acquire either a senior or a junior executive kit. But you contemplate, what is your goal? What is your financial circumstance? What is your willingness to work? And what is proper duplication and business building strategy, and then place the largest appropriate order. Notice I said a largest appropriate order. Don't spend a dollar you can't afford to spend. Don't paint yourself into a corner. We want to be a solution, not a part of the problem. But remember that every time someone arrives at a similar point in your business, they're going to say, what did you do? And if you reached up just a little bit, they will similarly reach up, and that will lead to that proper duplication you're searching for in your business. Step number 1, determine your why. Step number 2, place an appropriate initial order. Step number 3, man, I can't be more emphatic about the importance of step number 3. It's to establish an auto ship. Why is establishing an auto ship so very, very important? Establishing an auto ship is so critically important because here in the establishment of the auto ship is where it becomes possible for us to someday, one day, separate ourselves from the generation of income. Most people in our business begin part-time. Many people stay part-time throughout. And here's a bit of common knowledge and experience. Part-time for the vast majority means sporadic. It doesn't mean a disciplined 5 or 7 or 10 hours per week. Part-time means sporadic effort in many, many, many instances. When efforts are sporadic, I want you to now just cast your vision forward and think not of your own participation in the business, but think of the participation of the people in your group. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. Not just what do you do, but what do people in your group do. We'll come to that, a little further discussion of that at duplication, step number 10. But you see, when the people in your group are sporadically active in the business, that's quite common for part-time people. If there is a lack of a solid auto-ship foundation, then a significant part-time income becomes fleeting. It's like a mist. It's hard to grab a hold of. The network marketing or the community commerce promises that we talk about so much, being able to separate ourselves from the generation of income, generating meaningful income on a part-time basis, these become a much more achievable reality when we've created a solid auto-ship foundation. What is auto-ship? It's simply this. It's when you put your credit card on file with the company and you've notified them in advance what you'd like to receive on an ongoing basis. What does my auto-ship include? My auto-ship includes the functional beverages. I love the juice. My auto-ship includes the Reveal product line. And you know what else my auto-ship includes? This is important for you. Remember I said a few minutes ago, I invite you to join us in a community whose primary purpose is lifelong personal growth and development. Lifelong personal growth and development. That implies that you now, in addition to your product inclusion on auto-ship, subscribe to lifelong learning. Lifelong learning, a chance to learn, grow, develop, and become. As we each learn, grow, develop, and become, suddenly those things that seem problematic in the development of our business, they one day become no longer problematic, they become achievable, and then one day they become easy as a result of lifelong personal growth and development. Step number 1, determine your why. Step number 2 is to enroll in monavie. You can't do it wrong. Step number 3 is to place an appropriate initial order. Step number 4 is to establish your auto ship. Those are all the things that one has to do to just lay the very most basic foundation. And that's before things get actionable. That's the very most basic foundation in our business. Step number 5 is where the rubber starts to hit the road. Step number 5 is where we set some goals and make some commitments. Now here I'm very, very cautious when I talk about this establishment of goals because it's about what you want. It's not about what I want. What do you want? What do you want for you? What do you want for your family? What is it that you hope to accomplish? So when we talk about setting goals, I can't establish them for you, but I can perhaps just throw a couple of targets out that have been effective targets for others. I have found that this business is relatively easy to do quickly and it's relatively more difficult to do slow. What do I mean by that? When people that you interact with see that you're going somewhere, they want to be part of that. It's thrilling, it's fun to be a part of a group that's going somewhere. When you're going somewhere, others want to go with you. When you're standing in your tracks, why should they want to follow? What I have found is that a quick start is a good start. The very first indicator of a quick start is that when you have helped others get started correctly, become a star. Make a goal for yourself. And once again, here I'm cautious because it's about what you want. It's not about what I want. It's not about what I want for you. But I found it creates a proper foundation. If you become a star right away, I propose this idea of you becoming a star in the next 48 hours. You can do that. What does it mean to be a star? To be a star simply means that you've enrolled someone on your right side. We've got a simple two-sided compensation plan. And people ask me, Randy, how do you build the business? Very much like I walk. Right, left, right, left. I want you to do the same thing. Sponsor somebody on your right side. Walk them through this getting started process and help them place an appropriate initial order. Sponsor someone on your left side. Walk them through this getting started process. Help them place an initial order. Bang, just like that, you've become a star. If you become a star and help those that you've sponsored likewise become a star, you just became a star maker. And believe it or not, if you repeat that process over and over and over, you will one day become dramatically successful in our business. If you sponsor somebody on your right side and you sponsor someone on your left, what does it mean to be their sponsor? It simply means that you are the one who introduced them to this process. You guided them through. You are the introducing factor. Sponsor one on your right, sponsor one on your left. Help them place an appropriate initial order. You're a star. Help them do the same thing. You're a star maker. That's a very, very, very worthy goal. When you can say, I am a star, and I've helped someone else become a star on your right side and on your left side, then you can say, in fact, you have gotten started. Now you've started in the business. You can begin duplicating a process that has shown to create enormous value in the lives of so many families, so many people that I really know well, people that I love. Step number 1 is to determine why you're going to do this business. Step number 2 is to enroll in monavie. You can't do that wrong. Step number 3 is to place an appropriate initial order, one that contemplates your goal, your financial circumstance, your willingness to work, proper business building strategy. Step number 4 is to create an auto ship, and not just for yourself, but I want you to consider again, people in your business will do what they see you do when you make auto ship a critical part of your own personal foundation in the business. When that becomes foundational to your every conversation, auto ship, that's something we do. When you understand that auto ship is something you're doing for your group, it's not just for you, because when you fully embrace auto ship, my life experience has shown others in your group will fully embrace auto ship. That means it will become far more likely for them to live this promise, live out these promises of network marketing and direct selling. What are the promises? That true part-time people can generate a significant amount of income, that we can begin after a relatively short period of time. Relatively short period of time. I'm talking about 2 or 3 years. After a relatively short period of time, we can have an income stream that starts to take on a life of its own, and that someday, one day, we can separate ourselves from the generation of income, the successes of other people. These promises, they demand an auto ship foundation. Step number 4 then is to establish your own auto ship and to make that foundational in your business. Step number 5 is to establish some goals and make some commitments. I think that some worthy goals for a brand new participant in the business is for you to become a star, help those you've enrolled become stars, so that you help them so that you've now become a star maker. Man, when that happens, you're on your way. You've set in motion a process that's been proven to work for so many. Step number 6 is to create a candidate list. You know, if I could just snap my fingers, if I could get out of my head what's there to yours, if I could get out of my heart what's there to yours, then what you would know is this: we have a gift that we offer to others. Literally and truly, we have a gift. We invite people to participate in a community whose primary purpose is lifelong personal growth and development. When you come to fully understand the pillars of MVP, when you know what our community is about, it is good and it is right. It's right for our society, it's right for our country, it's right for the time, it's right for you, and it's right for your family. Because that's true, it's right for other people too. You have a gift to offer to others. And you know what? Inclusive in that gift is a group of products. Man, how I love the monavie product line. How I love the fact that when a person consumes our juice, they love it. When they consume it, they love it. And because they love it, they consume a lot of it. And because they consume a lot of it, the product does what it's supposed to do. And what's that? Helps a lot of people feel better. Helps them feel better in a variety of ways. And that's what gives them the courage and empowers them to pick up the phone and invite someone else to do likewise. Making a list is easy if you believe what I believe. If you believe that our industry is good and that inside our industry our company is very, very good. If you believe that our product offering is fantastic. If you believe that Reveal has something important to say in the personal fitness category and weight loss. If you believe that our functional beverages add value to people's lives like I believe it. If you think that EMV is an important inclusion in the energy drink market where so many products are so unhealthy. If you believe in the product development team like I believe in it, then you know there will be more things to come which add value to people's lives, that we have a gift to give to others. Well, if that's what you believe, and if you believe that by inclusion in this community plus the consumption of our products that a person's life will be enhanced, man, it's easy to write down a list of names. It's really easy. But here's the key. The key is to fully participate in that community so that you grow. Because every time you grow, it becomes that much easier to create a candidate list that moves in front of you, because then others are saying, wow, look what's happening to him. Look what's happening to her. I want what they've got. I'm willing to do what they're doing to get it. But in the beginning, right now at the outset, write down a list of names. Write down a list of names of people that you would like to be in association with. And I encourage you, as we contemplate your very first home business presentations or your first one-on-ones, we'll talk about that a little bit later in this discussion, I encourage you to write down in this first group of 30 names, how about if you write down the list of 10 people who just love you? They'll come to the presentation because they love you. Why? Because these people will actually be aiding you as they're learning. Why? Because the skill to do comes from the doing. As you make your first presentations to these people, you'll be growing. The learning, growing, developing, and becoming process begins to take place as you introduce people that you love to a product that I believe in and I think you'll come to believe in, to a concept that's been proven to add great value to so many people's lives. Write down the list of 10 people who just love you. 10 people who love you. The same people that you would invite to come to any other business introduction if you were doing it. If you were opening a restaurant today, who are the 10 people you'd invite to your very first little private brunch? Put those people down. Invite them to be among your very first people to view the business. Then contemplate, what do you want your business to look like? I remember so many years ago I got involved in the industry and I was told that we had a product that lowered cholesterol long before monavie came into existence. And I thought, man, it'd be really good if I was a doctor. And I was kind of feeling like I was disadvantaged because I didn't have the credential to speak with authority about that product. And my sponsor, my upline, was a person who was wise. He said, Randy, you got 2 choices. You can go to school for about 12 years and you can become a doctor, or you can realize the magic of this industry. You can overcome your own weakness or perceived weakness by sponsoring someone who doesn't share it. If you think it's good to have a doctor in your business, go sponsor one. And bang, just like that, you've got the values in your business. I've stated for so many years that I believed in my heart of hearts and all the way to the center of my being that the fundamental principles governing this industry of ours, community commerce, direct selling, they're superior to the principles which govern conventional business. And one of the reasons is because we can recruit our way out of our own perceived weakness. Notice I said perceived. It wasn't a weakness for me that I was not a physician, but I had a perceived weakness that it was. I could recruit my way out of that perceived weakness by putting somebody on my candidate list who didn't share the weakness. And so identify a few characteristics in people that you would like to have in your business and write them down on the candidate list. And I encourage you to write down people on that candidate list, names of people who are like you and names of people who are not like you, names of people that you have known for years and names of people that you just barely met, and then write down maybe the last 5 names in that first 30, write down the what if list. The what if this person joined me? If they did, it would dramatically impact my business because they have trust and credibility in the community. They're people that others look up to. Make your first list of 30 names. Take out the memory jogger. Make that list today. And then add to your daily disciplines the thought of adding 1 or 2 or 3 new names to that list every single day such that your candidate list grows in front of you. You see, it's a simple activity to write down a list of names. It is a skill to so live our lives such that our candidate list grows in front of us. Step number 1, I'm big on repetition. Step number 1 is what? Step number 1 is to identify why are you going to do this business. Why? What's your why? Step number 2 is to enroll in monavie. Can't do it wrong. You just can't do it wrong. Enroll in monavie. Step number 3 is to place an appropriate initial order, one which contemplates your goal, your financial circumstance, your willingness to work, proper business building strategy. Step number 4 is to establish auto-ship for our products, and also establish your own enrollment, your own registration, and lifelong learning. Because why? Because this is our chance to learn, grow, develop, and become. Learn, grow, develop, and become. Lifelong learning process. Step number 5 is where the action begins. Step number 5, what we do, we set some goals, we make some commitments, I think very worthy goals at the very outset. Become a star. Help those people that you've enrolled become stars. Become a star maker. Once that occurs, you've set in motion a process that duplicated over time, builds a big business, has done for me, has done for many others. Step number 6 is to create a candidate list. Step number 7, this is really important. It is important that we take action. Invite, contact and invite. And you know, Cicero said so many years ago in a brilliant statement, he said, the skill to do comes from the doing. I want you to know that the worst contact you ever make is still a great contact, because the skill to do comes from the doing. I place large emphasis on developing a well-refined skill. Why? Because someday I believe that as you develop a well-refined, inviting skill, more and more people will say yes to this beautiful opportunity. I don't want people to see he or she who's doing the inviting. I want prospects to see the opportunity. As you develop an inviting skill, that will become more likely. But you know what? The worst invitation you ever make will be a great invitation, because the skill to do comes from the doing, and the person who is looking will look through the ineffective invitation of even the most raw newcomer. Promise you. We're looking for people who are looking. There are countless people in our society who so desperately want that which we have to offer. We are looking for people who are looking. It comes down to the number of people we invite, far more than it does coming down to the skill with which we extend that invitation. Step number 7 is to invite and contact. Step number 8 is to present the business. I'm so happy to tell you here that it's not about you. You need not be a skilled and a gifted presenter. We will teach you, as part of your involvement in this community, as part of your affiliation with your upline, your sponsor, we will teach you the several ways to present the business. With a simple one-on-one brochure, you today, as the newest participant in our business, could walk through a series of pages and you could teach someone what he or she needs to know to make a yes decision to involve themselves in monavie. We'll teach you how to do a one-on-one presentation. Just go through the brochure. A home business review, that's where you invite a handful of people over to your home and you flip the pages on a chart, or you might push play on a DVD. You might again go through that one-on-one brochure. Presenting our business is not a difficult task once you've fallen in love with it. Once you've fallen in love with it, as I have, presenting our business is not a difficult task. I challenge you to make a daily activity standard. How many times each day Not each week, not each month. How many times each day will you give someone a chance to say yes or to opt out? To say yes or to opt out. There are people desperately searching for what we have. The number of times that you give a person a chance to say yes or to opt out will dictate your long-term success in the business. As that process begins to duplicate through a large number of people, it's the number of exposures, it's not the quality of that exposure. It's the number of presentations, it's not the quality of the presentation. This is something of which I'm completely certain. Step number 9 is to follow up and follow through. You know, there are so many people who are waiting to see our commitment level. They're waiting to see your commitment level. Having introduced the business, please do not allow more than 48 hours to go by without a professional and a proper follow-up and follow-through. Engage your upline. Bring your sponsor. Bring your sponsor's sponsor. Bring the upline diamond into the process as much as you need to. There are people in this organization whose success is tied to your success. As a group, we want to help because it's the right thing to do, but there's also a business interest. We are a group of people bonded together with a common purpose of lifelong personal growth and development. We also share common financial goals. Bring your upline into the equation. Follow up and follow through. Follow up and follow through. That's step number 9. And, you know, inclusive in that follow up and follow through, add to your concept of what it means to follow up and follow through. Add to that concept the idea of learning how to effectively guide a person through these same steps to getting started. It might be something so simple as getting together and saying, let's listen to this guy Randy talk and pushing play and watching this video together. That'd be an effective way to follow up and follow through with a new person who has just decided to go forward or is trying to decide, shall I move forward or not? And step number 10 is to simply duplicate the process. You know, I think one of the great authors, a gentleman named Bill Wilson, he wrote one of the most remarkable self-help books that I've ever read. And he said at the beginning of one of the chapters, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. In the last few minutes, I have given you a simple, concise path. And you know what? Never have I seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed that path. What I promise you is this: you can succeed in this business. There is someone just like you accomplishing great things in this business. There's someone with your challenged relationships, or there's someone with your great relationships. There's someone with your higher education or with your lack of higher education. There are people with your past business successes or with your past business failures. There is a people who is your age, your gender, your ethnic background. There is someone just like you who is really succeeding. And so it comes down to each one of us simply becoming willing. People ask me all the time, Randy, is there any one single characteristic that stands out the most in those who really succeed? And yes, it is willing. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Are you willing to follow? To the extent that you're willing to follow, we're willing to lead, those of us who have gone before. I welcome you to Monavie. I hope so much that you fully embrace this. My life has been forever changed for the better because I said yes to the industry, and then a magnifier was put on that when I said yes to Monavie. I hope this little video has been helpful to you. I look forward to seeing you along the way. God bless. See you soon.